Another computer problem, the world order. What else is new? And this is with a, well, it's not entirely new, but a refurbished Mac directly from Apple. and and the end user is already having problems. These billion-dollar corporations are a joke, man. The joke is on you if you believe their bullshit about, ooh, you know, buy something new or buy something refurbished and it'll work just like a Ferrari. Wrong. This one deals with iTunes. Here's the request. I'll cut to the chase. I'm getting an error message on my new Mac computer. Well, it's not new, it's refurbished, but whatever. When I tried to open iTunes, it's brand new. Gave me the error the first time I tried opening it. Now they were using a refurbished Apple Mac. Don't know if it's a MacBook Pro. I don't give a fuck if it's iMac. I don't give a fuck about that specifics. It was installed iOS, not iOS. That is for, you know, iPad, iPods, iPhones. High Sierra. So Apple Mac operating system 10.13.3 was installed, which is High Sierra. And here is the exact error message. Error message: the iTunes library Extras.ITDB file is locked on a locked disk, or you do not have right permissions for this file. So you purchase a refurbished Mac from Apple directly, and you bring it home and you brag to your friends and your cult followers and whoever else gives a fuck about how great Mac products are, and bam, you get an error within seconds, within minutes, within hours. It is good, though, to give your computer technician the exact error. That helped me a lot. By them giving me the exact error that they were receiving, it only took a few seconds for me to find some articles on the internet about this error. So, since I do not have a Apple Mac, iMac, MacBook Pro, then Did you just hear that? I don't know if my condenser mic picked it up, but somebody fucking slammed a door downstairs. I think they're downstairs. I think that's, I don't know, I don't go downstairs. I avoid these motherfuckers in this building because they're snitchers, they snitch on each other, and some of them are loud. But anyways, I mean, I hate this fucking office. I should have never signed that 1-year lease, but it's hard to find a small office that's affordable anywhere in this metro area. I digress back to this. You don't need an office as a computer repair technician, but I do not like people coming to my home. I tried that before. No. And then I also recycle computers. I don't want people coming to my premises. Absolutely not. Not these goddamn fucking Americans. I cannot demonstrate, but click on the link in the description box below that'll take you to my blog post on my website, initcomputers.com, showing you how to fix this problem. I fixed the problem. It was a permissions issue. Now, there's a couple of things you can try first. One thing you can try is to rename the file. There is one file, iTunes library Extras.ITDB. I'm assuming that is a database file. Why else would it have DB? You know what I'm saying, for database. What you could do is you could rename it. Now, since this was the first time that this customer had ever tried to open iTunes on this refurbished Mac directly from Apple that had problems right away, you know what I'm saying? Then you could also delete that file. If you've used iTunes before and it starts to fuck up and you start to get this error, then you probably don't want to delete that file because it's most likely a database file. So it could have important information in that file. If it's the first time ever opening iTunes, won't open, try to delete the file, or you could also rename it. If it is historically been your iTunes software of choice, then you could rename it. Just rename it to .db.back or whatever you want, .old, .save. Just rename it something else. And then when you do try to open iTunes, then it will create a new one. You know what I'm saying? But you still have that backup file. Now, this customer did rename this file, but it didn't work. But I had them rename the file again, and then I had them reboot. No bueno. When they renamed the file and then rebooted, guess what? They received another error on this brand new refurbished Mac directly from Apple that had problems on day one. Yes. The second file was iTunes library Extras.ITDB. No, that's the first one. There was a second one. It's somewhere in here, in this longer blog post. I know I documented it. Let me search. Come on. Okay, so it's extras. There's a second one. No, that's the first one. Oh, here it is. I am no genius, you know what I'm saying? This is apropos, man. I'm not a genius, man, that's for sure. But whatever, it's not... Did I misspell it? I don't know. Who gives a shit? No, I don't know. I think I misspelled it. I don't think that's... who gives a shit? The second file is genius, whatever, who gives a shit. So now they received the same error, only with the second file. But when I studied that problem, I already knew that there were two files that a lot of people were having problems with. So I wasn't surprised that the second file showed up. But initially, the second file didn't have this problem. So now they were having the same error with the second file, another database file. Now, what fixed this problem was file permissions on a brand new refurbished Mac bought directly from Apple that had fucking problems on day one. It was a permissions problem. Now, I recommended to them, and this is where you're going to need to read the blog post because I don't have a Mac to demonstrate, and it would be difficult for me to reproduce this problem anyways. But I don't even have a Mac to demonstrate how to show you permissions, file permissions. So let me go quickly. Let's cut to the chase, and I will read you what they said fixed their problem. They fixed their own problem, but they used my information. They wouldn't have known. They wouldn't have known to try to rename it. They wouldn't have known to go in and adjust the file permissions for these two files. Okay, I went to each file. Did you hear that? That was another noise. So we've got two noise pollution disturbances in the same video. And they're pretty loud. This building was not built with any kind of soundproofing. That's obvious. But still, that's not acceptable. Have I ever complained? Well, I complained about that motherfucker 2 offices down that he yells and I can hear him through 2 walls. I complained immediately last year in person to the fucking management of this building, and they are Christian. I'm just saying. Christians always like to judge Muslims and other religious people, and they did absolutely nothing. So complaining about anything is a waste of my time. Now, if I was the one that was yelling and people could hear me through 2 walls, or I slammed doors, there's no doubt I would have been evicted already. Okay, I went to each file and there was already a permission showing for everyone with read and write permission. So I added a permission, selected my username, and changed the permission to read and write. It did not ask for my password, but that seemed to do it. I just heard a third noise. There's some other fucker, I don't know if it's on the 3rd floor or the bottom floor, that is There's a fourth noise. I just heard a fourth noise. So I added a permission, selected my username, and changed the permission to read and write. It did not ask for my password, but that seemed to do it. I can now open iTunes. Thank you. So let me scroll up, and I'll go quickly what you could try. With this scenario, it was a permissions issue. Change the permissions for everyone to read and write for both those ITDB files. Select one of those files, then choose File. So you just click on it to select it, then click on File. Select Get Info. If the information and sharing and permissions is not visible, then click the triangle. Click the lock icon if you need to unlock it. Now, when I researched this, usually you have to enter your administrator name and password, but I'm not sure why it didn't ask him for it. I don't own a Mac. The security on Macs are kind of strange. It doesn't always work. It's just bizarre. Kind of like Windows. To me, Linux, the security almost always works. I mean, it's not perfect, but generally, when you need the root login and the root password, there's no way getting around it. Whereas on Windows and Mac, some fucking weird shit occurs. I digress back to this. So then you may need to enter your administrator account and password. Click everyone in the name column, then choose read and write from the pop-up menu. Now, they were able to fix it, and I already told you how. They didn't have to go through all that, but they did have to change the permissions for these two files. Bam, they were able to fix their issue. Bam, I received compensation for this solution. A brand new Mac, refurbished directly from Apple, that is already fucking up. Adios.